name is Natalie Prez, and I have an interview with one of the members of Blacklist Union on September 10th, 2025. So it's been close to 10 years since we last spoke way back in 2016. What has the band been up to since then up until now?
Oh, good Lord. Well, what hasn't happened? I mean, all kinds of things happen in the world. Look what happened in the world. The world went batshit crazy and during that time. But fuck, the Back to Momo record is when we spoke last. And of course I wrote that with Todd Youth, and then he passed away in 2018. And I kind of lost my songwriting partner that I had been searching for my whole life, and my dear and good brother and friend. But we had a special writing relationship, me and him, that I never had with anyone else. And after he died, I went to Peru with the Shipibo Indians, and did ayahuasca. And I've been there 3 times. I've done the ayahuasca 17 times, but it was so healing, and dealt with so much trauma. I had deaths. If you know the early records, like the first records in tribute of Bianca, from Betty Blowtorch, who was my girlfriend. And then, my wife died 10 days after releasing that record. Like, the first 3 records are so dark, and, getting that stuff out. But anyway, so after Todd died, that was my solution. I sought a spiritual solution, hardcore, because I was like, I can't let this destroy my life. And it took a long time. And it took me, for not really, I mean, because there was always, everything's always in your back pocket. And I just said to Chris Johnson, who's been, Blacklist Union member number 6, since day one. I was like, why don't we just write the songs? Because my voice and our sound better than anyone. So, of course, we came back with the Letters from the Psych Ward record, which, I love that record. And this new one, Slay the Dragon, I'm very, very proud of this record. It's really good, and it's evolved so much. Our sound has evolved, and I've evolved as a human, as an artist, as a father, all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
So,
Would you say that the lineup has changed since the very first time we spoke back in 2009?
oh God, yeah. I mean, we had a revolving cast of characters for a while. You know what I mean? But we got some great people now. D Hayes, he's my rhythm guitar player. We've been friends since we were kids. I love having him in the band, and he brings the like Johnny Thunders, Izzy kind of vibe to the band. Although, he's his own creature, but I just love that. And there's really good energy. Our drummers kick ass, Justin Perez, and he used to be in a goat whore, and he was in a couple like crazy down the rabbit hole metal shit, where I'll be like, some of my friends will be like, yeah, he played in blah blah blah. They're like, I'm like, I don't know. But and then Raph Ransom, he just landed. He's from Houston. I met him through Paul Crosby, our drummer. I mean, our drummer, our manager, who I've known Paul since '98. I was, at the first gig, well, the second that Paul did with Saliva. And I love him. And he doesn't want to be on the road after 20 plus years of touring. And he's a manager, and he's a great manager and a trusted friend. We have a good team, so it's about assembling a team, and then also, I went through a lot of darkness, all those records, man. Like, and with these last two, it's a lot of healing. And although I did go through a hideous divorce that still hurts, but fuck that, I ain't going back there.
Mhm. I've noticed that the band's logo has changed over time. Why do this? And do you guys still use the heart logo, or that one's dead
Yeah,
and
the heart
gone?
logo, that was Tracy, my wife that died. That was her tattoo. It came from her because she had a spiritual experience in the hospital where she saw these, it was actually 3 birds flying, and I don't know, it changed her life and tied her heart back together. And that comes from her. And we do use it, of course. Um, but and then we like to evolve, and I love the new font on the new record, Slay the Dragon, the font, how they wrote Blacklist Union. It's so cool. It's like China-ish or whatever, or Japan or
Yeah.
kanji-ish. So I love that. I mean, I'm whole, almost my whole body's tattooed, and it's all Japanese.
Mhm.
So
What can you tell me about the latest, what is it, three singles off the new album? What can you briefly tell me about each of
Good Lord, there's a whole single coming every, every cycle, every cycle.
them?
The music business is a weird animal nowadays, and thank God I have Paul Crosby, who I trust and who's my brother and friend. And he knows how to maneuver through it. But it's like people's attention spans are so short, that you got to be putting out content. But I still listen to records. I don't know, like I'll listen through a whole piece of work, and when I was growing up, we had to listen to that record a few times, and then we fucking loved it and listened to it all the time. Like stuff grows on you, and I can tell you, we have that effect on people. And I always get told beautiful things about our music. So I'm just gonna keep being a rock and roll soldier. That's one of our songs on Slay the Dragon, Rock and Roll Soldier. I'm excited for people to hear some other songs too that aren't singles yet, at least. Rock and Roll Soldier being one of them. There's another song called Do It for the Song, which is super cool. What's the other one? Yeah, so I'm really excited about this record. And I'm really proud of this record. Like I said, I'm proud of all the work I've done, but for some reason, I'm very, very proud of this record. And I think it's got some serious legs. And, we want to get on tour with like the big boys, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Motley Crue. Like, give us a chance, like people gave you guys, Buck Cherry, Steel Panther. I love those guys. They're my friends. But, give us a chance that people gave you, because we won't let you down. We'll bring the rock with zero drama. Like that sounds like a plan to me. Fucking sign me up. Bring the rock with zero drama. And we've assembled a team, and the band is kick ass, and it brings the rock for sure. And live is where it's at for us. It's like, if you got to deliver it live. And I always try to go, I want it to sound better than the record if I go see a band, and that's not easy. So
These tracks do come off the new album, but how would you say this album differs to your very first album? Compare and contrast sort of thing.
it's funny because I listened to my first record, and my voice sounds so inexperienced to me. And my one friend from the band Love Hate, he was like, well, that's how it's supposed to be on your first. I was like, oh, okay. But I love those songs from the After the Morning record. Those are really important, deep, beautiful songs that I just love. They're like children. They're just special and beautiful. And but you evolve as a human. You evolve as a. Hopefully, that's the goal. You want to evolve as a person, as a soul, as a human, as an artist. You know what I mean? You don't want to stay stagnant. Although lots of people do. So not I though. I
Mhm.
try not to.
What would be one word to describe this new album as a whole?
Man, one word. Good Lord. How uh, well, you can't do a phrase. What about a phrase? Punch, punch in the face. Kick in the ass. I like kick in the ass. I don't want to punch nobody in the face. Kick in the ass. That's my one word for the record.
You will be celebrating this album's release with a show this coming weekend. How would this show stand out above all the other shows that you've done previously?
Well, we're only bringing two midgets this time, so um but we love Bar Sinister. We love the staff. We're playing there for them. We always do really well there. Some of our friends have some shows. So many people have shows that night. Like there's a big show at the Whiskey with Moto Christ with a couple of guys from Faster Pussycat and Motorcycle Boy, which is an old school LA band. Um, but yeah, this is going to be a great show. Bar Sinister is always great. It's always fun. It's a wide spectrum of people there, which I really appreciate because I grew up in New York, and that's how it was when I was growing up. Like, you know, it didn't matter what you wore. Just people were very accepting, and I like that there. They have that. Although they have those crazy rules. They have rules. You can't wear white shoes or blue jeans. And I was like, oh, can I have that sign from my house? Like, I need that from my house. Like, no white shoes or blue jeans. But uh,
besides this show, what does the show and tour schedule look like for the rest of this year leading into the next year? Anything coming up?
That's what we're trying to get is we're not trying, we're creating a tour. We need a tour with, the big boys. Like, we want to go out there and deliver the rock. And there's so many people that love rock and roll that still don't know who Blacklist Union is, although this is going to be our sixth full-length record. But I think that's changing, and we want to get out there. We're creating, getting out there, on a bus with doing real tours and at least recouping on our merch and stuff. We're certainly nobody's a kid in the band, and we have families and bills to pay just like everybody else. You know what I mean? But we won't. We're down. We'll deliver. We promise. First one's on us. We'll do it for free. You know what I mean? So
Okay, so besides releasing the album and doing some shows, what are the other plans that the band has in store for the rest of this year into next year? Anything you would like to shout out, or you don't want to reveal anything yet?
yeah, I think Nine's going to be flapping his wings like a feathered freak. you know, take everything one moment at a time. Like, that's all I could fucking do. Like getting this record out, it was a lot of work and it was a lot, man. Just making shit happen. It's all a lot, but what else? I'm so down the rabbit hole. I'm a rock and roll soldier. I can't do anything else. I've tried to quit. There's no quitting, And at this point, there's too much momentum and goodness and good energy going on and healing and stuff to quit now. Like fuck that. Do you know the last record? Like Dirty Halo on Letters from the Psych Ward. That's one of my favorite songs. I mean, I've done a bunch of records and that's my favorite song I ever recorded because it's so deep and personal.
Mhm.
There's beautiful songs in there. I mean, Dancing with the Angels is another one, another beautiful song. Like Queen of Everything, that was my wife. Like, you know, Slay the Dragon record is there's so much heartbreak in there because my fucking wife, like, that shit broke my heart. So, but all that, all that stuff, all that true life stuff is in the songs, and it's therapeutic. It helps me. So,
Is there anything else you would like to say to wrap this up? And perhaps we won't have to take another 10 years to speak to each
yeah,
other again.
just if you don't know who Blacklist Union is, I can promise we deliver. And I mean, although you always have those people that were just not their cup of tea, but I can tell you, we deliver the rock, and that's what it's about. And carrying the torch and carrying the flag for rock and roll, man. Because we're soldiers. Everybody in the band is, and we do our job. We do it well, and we love writing songs and performing and recording and all that stuff. And we got to get on with it and get on with the show and have some real tours with like Six and Tommy, or Joe and Steven, or Josh and Stevie D from Buck Cherry, or the Steel Panther guys. I love them. They're so much fun. But we want to that's what we're creating, is that the opportunities.